Thank you for coming. We have this little talk once a week that we call the Golden Ticket because we have a golden ticket. And if you're listening to this, somebody put a golden ticket in your hand, and nobody knows more than us how hard it can be to identify that golden ticket, because all of us were passed the ticket at one point. And it was hard to see. For me, it was hard to see even after I had great results with the products that we're distributing. It was hard to see even after I joined the business. But it became more and more clear over time. My name is Jennifer Murray. If I didn't mention that, I live out in Kauai, Hawaii, and I am a cookbook author. I have 3 cookbooks that are on Amazon, and I used to own a little vegan restaurant, co-own a little vegan restaurant with my sister and a few other people here in downtown Kapa'a, Kauai. And so I'm no stranger to business and being an entrepreneur. We had about 50 employees at that restaurant and juice bar that we owned. And it was a relief, quite a huge relief for me to move on to being a private chef and a cookbook author. But I brought with me a lot of pain in my body, a lot of heavy lifting led to some misalignments and things in my body. I was pretty uncomfortable, even though I considered myself a very healthy person. When my girlfriend came along, talking about some products very persistently, very consistently, and being very consistently ignored by me for a while, I was incredibly skeptical that the products could be as great as she thought. I will talk more about the products later. This call is a little bit more centered around why and what makes network marketing and our company a good business opportunity. But for me, that was really hard to see. And I had to dabble and do this on the side for a while before I could see this little thing I was dabbling in on the side was growing legs and growing without me. And none of my businesses in the past had ever performed like that. I had to do everything. I was 100%. They can grow, but they grow if you feed them your life. If you feed your business your life, then it grows. And in this company, what I was noticing is I would go and work all day as a chef, and by the end of the day, my business had grown. And that started to really perk my my more and more of my devotion. And I started to see this as an asset, not just a job or a career move, but something quite more powerful. Actually, my friend, my business ally, Julie Mai, is going to talk a bit about that. But yeah, when I went to one of my first meetings about this, I met Julie Mai, and I expected to hear a lot about products and a lot about science and a lot about how, great these things were for the human body. And instead, what I found was a woman sitting next to a stack of books about leverage and network marketing and creating wealth, something that's not taught in school, right? I think we all know everybody over the age of 25 kind of figured out that they didn't really teach us that in school, how to run a successful business or make a lot of money. But then we're out here in the world, and guess what? Everything costs money. We're all out there making it. And so to run into this woman, this beautiful woman with this successful jewelry business and children, and someone who kind of looked like she had it all, kind of trying to rally some support around a bigger vision, something bigger than Kauai, something bigger than, I think a lot of us these days, we think, okay, if I'm going to make, a substantial money, I got to go out there and create this great Instagram account, or just, kind of be a business leader and a forager of your own personal path that nobody else does and is so unique to you. I am here to tell you that that's just sort of a storyline that's being fed to us. And what I see in my friends and my family is what that mostly does is drain us of our time, drain us of our money, drain us of our enthusiasm to be entrepreneurs. So yes, meeting Julie Mai and realizing that there's this other way where you can join hands with people, have a like-minded group with a similar, with a shared cause, and go further and get farther. And so that is how we started, from a little island in the middle of the ocean, a global, international empire of wellness. So, Julie, without much further ado, please share some of that big Julie Maya vision with the rest of us.
Oh, Jennifer, that was good. That was really, really good. I love what you said about, going to school and not being taught that, like, how to really make money. Like, we're taught how to go get a job and go to work for the next 40 to 50 years to hopefully retire on half of what we were making in the first place. When I started to really understand that theory, I was like, I don't know if that's the best plan. I wish there was Wealth 101. I think who can agree that we would have taken that class in high school or college, right? So you guys, for me, my story, before I kind of get into, why I believe this industry is one of the most incredible industries that you can be in, I just want to touch a little bit on my story, like where Jennifer said I was about 8 years ago, going all the way back 8 years. I was a mom of 2 girls. I was juggling a full-time jewelry design business that was becoming pretty successful. My husband worked full-time in the construction arena, and we were basically just running and running on that hamster wheel. We were trying to provide for our family the most and the best life that we could. My husband worked full-time, and then I did the jewelry during the day, and then we kind of high-fived at 4 or 5 o'clock, and I would go off to work in a restaurant 3 nights a week, just because we were really trying to create that life, to buy a home here on the island. If you guys are in the islands, or if you've ever been to Hawaii, it's one of the most expensive places on the planet. So you got to work a little bit harder to live here. And what I found, where I was just honestly, even though from the outside in, it kind of looked like I had my stuff together. It looked like we were happy, but you guys, I was on my knees. I was really not in a good place. I was screaming for something different. Was I grateful that my business was successful? Yes, I was grateful. Was I grateful that it was growing? I was, but I also understood that the more big it got, then the less time it was taking away. It was taking more and more time away from my girls, who were 3 and 5 at the time. And it was breaking my heart to keep passing them on to other people to raise, to take to the beach, to help me get to and from school. And I think it hit me so hard because that's the life I grew up with. My mom put that entrepreneurial spirit within me and said, you can do whatever you want and start a business. Even though I was an employee, I really wanted to start a business for myself. So I had that. But unfortunately, that came at a price. It came at a cost. My mom worked day in and day out, sometimes 60 to 70 to 80-hour weeks with her business. And being an only child, I was lonely. I didn't have, my mom wasn't there. Not that to say that she didn't do the right thing. She did the best she could, but I missed her. And I knew that if I didn't change something 8 years ago, I was going down that same path. And I just, started to ask questions. I started to be curious of why is it that people have one of two things. People that we can think of in our mind that are very, very successful and have a ton of money, they don't really have a lot of time because they're always working for that money. People that have all the time, that are surfing all day or that are, laying on the couch watching movies, they don't have a lot of money and they're struggling paycheck to paycheck. So I was like, there must be, or there might be kind of an even ground. Maybe there's something that I can do to get me my time back. And sure enough, a friend showed up, a couple weeks after I was having these breakdowns of, I don't know how much longer I can go on doing this. And she showed up with this idea. Really, it started off with a product that was changing her family's life. And of course, being a business-minded person, the red flags went up and I was like, oh my gosh, this friend is going to try and sell me something. The last thing I need to do is be sold into another business or one of those things that I didn't know much about. But I will tell you that the product definitely intrigued me. It was different. Jennifer will touch a little bit about that on this at the end of this call, but it was different. And I was like, that is interesting. And I decided to, what the heck, give it a shot. I shared it with my mom and I watched my mom's life completely transform, going from being in a very dark place and depressive, kind of midlife crisis to going to be completely vibrant and full of life and happier than ever. And that's when I realized there was something special to what this product was. But what I decided to do after kicking and screaming and really, not wanting to take anything else on, because the one thing I wanted was more time, but I decided that things sometimes fall into our lap for a reason. And maybe you're on this call and you're having thoughts of that as well, that maybe I'm here for a reason. And I decided to do a little digging and a little research. And you guys, what I've realized is, public education will make you a living, like Jennifer said earlier. What I've learned is self-education will make you a fortune. And I started to dig and I started to research this industry because I had so much people, kind of coming at me with negative ideas. But again, they weren't living the life that I wanted to live. They weren't paying my bills. So I said, why don't I go to the sources where people are being successful, and people like Sir Richard Branson, people like Peter Drucker, Warren Buffett, Tony Robbins. I know you've heard some of these names, Robert Kiyosaki, who wrote Rich Dad, Poor Dad. These are extremely wise and successful business people that either support, own, or teach network marketing. And what I learned is that network marketing is really just real world education. It teaches the average person like yourself and myself, who may have no past experience or training in business, how to run a successful organization and how really to become a leader, not just in business, but in life. And I fell in love with that idea. I said to myself, if I can learn how to become better and I can help people do the same, then that's kind of a win-win. And I also learned that the concept of this industry isn't so much about selling. So many people think that, oh, I got to be a salesperson, or I got to be, really good at telling people to buy something. But what I realized early on, that it's not so much about selling as it is unlocking and building a network of like-minded people who have fallen in love with a unique product or service and that want the same thing as you and me. And that's really just more time, more choices, more freedom to live the life on your terms and not someone else's. That's, again, that financial freedom, that freedom to be able to decide and have choices. The real difference between traditional business versus this kind of business model, or even being an employee, is that you're able to leverage your efforts. So the work that you do, you can leverage that with the work of other people. So you multiply your time versus adding your time. We're so used to you work 8 hours and you get paid 8 hours, where you do something like this one time, people fall in love with the product, people fall in love with the service, and they order again and again and again, so that you're multiplying your efforts. For me, with the jewelry, if I don't create a certain amount of jewelry, or if I don't go to work to serve, wait tables, I'm not going to get paid. But with this, you do your work once and you get paid over and over again. So you're able to create this leverage wheel, this engine that continues to run with or without you, because you've created a situation where everyone has the same amount to gain. And that is really hard to do in any other business model. Because for me, if I hired someone to help me with the jewelry, they're my employee, and I got to be really careful with what I teach them, because I poured my whole life into my jewelry design. Because if I teach them to be too good, they could take that from under me and create their own business, and then they become my competition. But with this, the more that we can pour into people that understand the concept, the rising tide raises all ships. So the better other people become, the bigger our business grows. And that, you guys, is just one of the most beautiful things about what we do. There's no boss, you have no boss, you have no employees, you're not punching in, you're not punching out, you don't have production costs, you don't have to worry about shipping, none of that. All of that is taken care of. And honestly, I think what I fell in love with right away was I understood that for me to be successful at this, I had to help someone else. I had to go out and help someone else become successful. Otherwise, I wasn't going to win. And that is so the opposite of corporate America, dog eat dog, owning your own business. I don't want you to be better than me because I don't want you to take my job. I love that about what we do. So I'm going to have Rusty, if you'll share this little video. I want to share a little video about Tony Robbins, who is one of, the most influential, motivational, and business-minded people on the planet, that teaches people how to grow businesses and how to start businesses. And it's interesting what he shares in this video. So this is only a couple minutes, and I think you'll really appreciate what he has to say.
You've been around a long time. You've seen a lot of different things.
I have.
What are your thoughts about network marketing in general? And what is your thoughts about the decision that people can make to become entrepreneurs using it?
Well, it's interesting. I'm doing this program right now, and I got a room, of a couple thousand people from 44 countries. They're all business owners. Some of them are businesses that are approaching $1 billion. Some of them haven't even started yet, right? They're just picking their business. So it's really variety. And one of my goals in that event is to actually get people to not go in business. And the reason it sounds horrible is someone spends $10,000 to come to an event. I told them up front, some of you are not made for this, because to run a business requires a certain natural capacity, a nature, if you would, besides skills that you learn. And it's the ability to handle risk. It's the ability to handle stress. It's the ability to do a lot of different things. And you have to be able to manage finance. Like most people, they have some of those skills. And that's why every year, 50% of businesses that start are out of business. You know, you look at over any 5-year period of time, 80% are out of business, and over a 10-year period of time, only 4% make it. Now, make it, Eric, doesn't mean that they're making any money, right? That just means they're still standing. 96% fail, and after 10 years, you're set, right? No, look at Lehman Brothers, right? Around for a century. They did combined $1 trillion in revenue over that century, and they're gone. So the world, technology changes, products and services changes, it's so competitive. So to really be successful, it's a really unique situation. What's beautiful about network marketing is you get all the benefits of being an owner, but you don't have to be worrying about supply chain. You don't have to be worried about accounting, especially in the world we're in today. I mean, network marketing used to be a little bit more different, but today with technology, you can know what's happening in real time. The companies have already set up the software, they know what happens. So it's really picking the right company, and there's a lot of great companies in that area. And it's really realizing that you're really a value creator. If you can go out and add value to other people's lives, if you can just introduce people to a product or a service that a company you represent that truly is extraordinary, some products and services can't just be thrown up on Amazon. They need the story to be told. And if you found a product or service of that nature and you got a company that has a generous schedule of being able to reward you, and then you begin to get leverage where it's not just you, where you've multiplied your efforts to other people, then you get all the benefits of being a business owner without all the headaches and without the same level of risk. And so I think network marketing is amazing. Now, network marketing has a mixed reputation, and we all know that, right, in the marketplace. And anybody goes out to it, what are you doing? That's why you got to own yourself as a professional. I think that's why I'm supportive of what you do, because you're not just pumping people up, you're giving people real skill sets to be a pro.
There we go. So I love that. So, when he talks about the statistics of business, 50% of businesses fail in the first year, 80% in the first 5 years, and only 4% survive after 10 years. And he said, even then they're standing. We don't even know if they're surviving. And so, being an entrepreneur and understanding, like, I don't want to go to work for someone else for the next 40 to 50 years of my life, but I do want to have a business. But gosh, the statistics aren't looking so good. Jennifer talked about the vegan restaurant she had. You guys, it was one of the most incredible restaurants on the planet, in my opinion. It literally was. The product was so incredible. But because how expensive it is to keep a business running, they had to close their doors. So, when you can do something like this, that you can work with other people and understand that you can create that leverage wheel that will continue to pay you forever as long as the company is alive. And if you have a unique product or service that people want month after month, year after year, it is the golden ticket. So, this, as far as this industry goes, it's no small industry. This is, I think it's growing exponentially just with what's happening in the world. Even before COVID happened, you guys, it's just with this little device right here, we are the first generation in the history of the planet that can build a multi-million-dollar business in the palm of our hand. So wherever you are, whether you are in, my husband's from Tahiti, I can go there and work. Whether I built my business on the beach, watching my girls how to, teaching my girls how to surf while they were in the water. So really understanding how many millions of people are out of work right now and struggling and afraid of the future, to have something to offer them that they can do from the comforts of their own home is really, really an incredible thing. And I, just looking at the numbers to give you some idea, there's close to over 200 million network marketers in the world that spans across 100 countries. And I think just last year alone, we brought in $250 billion into the marketplace. And they say, but before COVID, I think the statistic was happened. They said by 2025, it's going to be over half a trillion, 650 billion. But honestly, I think it's going to be sooner than that, because so many people are looking for something different. So many people are at home, not wanting to go back to work because they realize that that's where they want to be with the people that they love. And if they can do something from home, you bet that they're going to try to do that. So I'm going to pass it back to Jennifer here in a second, and then I'll go over just a couple key things at the end. But what Tony talked about real quick, just the low risk, that you can do this for, you don't have to put $100,000 into this like a restaurant or maybe a bigger business that, you would have to, that there's a low risk and to get involved. There's flexibility that is, something that's so great. You get to create that asset, the tax benefits. I just want to talk on that, you guys. When you own your own business, you automatically get put into a better tax bracket, and you can save over $7,000 a year just by owning your own business. So that alone is a good reason to do something like that. And like Jennifer touched on, the community and the purpose that you have when you're helping other people succeed is such a beautiful thing. So I'm going to pass it back to you, Jen. Talk a little bit about the product. You throw it back to me and we'll wrap it up before the half an hour.
All right. Okay. I'm going to wrap up a lot of major advancements in science here in a few minutes. As promised, we have products that that would blow your mind because you've just never heard of them before. We have a lot of education in our company because we're doing something that nobody else is doing. We're not sold on shelves because there's no shelf space for what we do. You don't go into health food stores or supplement markets and find a space called nutrigenomics. You just don't see that yet. We're right at that cutting edge. Nutrigenomics, huge word, breaks down to mean we are using nutrients to affect genetic expression. And the goal of this is a health span that matches your lifespan. So we all know we have a lifespan. We don't know how long it is, but raise your hand if you're looking forward to 85. Like, the only people with their hands up on this Zoom of many people are the people that are already taking this product, because most people's strategy in our current culture is hope for the best and just live your life, go forward, and deal with the problems as they arise. And some of us, like me, when these products came along, I thought all I got to do is eat really healthy, exercise, get sunshine, manage my stress level. And that's the best you can do, juice, wheatgrass, whatever, acai berries, whatever, like all the best intake. But you know what? There's been an advancement. There's a lot more we can do now. And the scientists that started our company was started by scientists, not by businessmen looking to get rich, but by scientists looking to affect humanity and their health. And I take that very seriously. I think that is a huge difference between us and a lot of other companies, no matter what the industry is. For 40 years, from the 60s till the beginning of this century, this main scientist was trying to help the human body to overcome its natural damages, but also, you can see him talking about that the amount of pollution, the increase in the amount of pollution that we are subject to in the last 100 years is pretty astronomical. I won't even throw it out there because it gets a little depressing, right? It's in the food, it's in the air, it's in the water, and it's in the management of our very hectic lifestyles these days. So what are we doing with these products? These are natural, mostly herbal and plant-based formulas that get into you at the cellular level. You're made of 37 trillion cells. You don't have to think about it. You are designed in a way that it functions without you. It takes all the toxins, it takes all the damage, and it keeps chugging along. But just like everything else in life, it needs to be cleaned, it needs to be upgraded, and it needs to be recharged. And with these formulas, what we're able to do is tap into these cells at the very, minutest levels. They got these little receptors, they're receiving all day long, and we are sending them what we are eating, and we are sending them what we are breathing, and we are sending them our problems. And when we send them these life-changing formulas, what they're essentially doing is detoxifying, right? We're neutralizing free radicals at a rate 1 million times per second stronger than eating antioxidants. And that's proven, peer-reviewed, published with the National Institute of Health. Don't have to take my word for it. We are rebooting mitochondria. This is what's giving you the ability to shut down at night and rest and actually sleep, wake up fresh and have energy at the right times of day, not like this rooster out here. Do you hear that thing? So healing this, bringing back balance to this energy cycle of your body. And then also, here we are, nutrigenomics is a big thing to say, but we have products that are literally have the ability to read your genetics as they are being expressed and silence the harmful ones and express the survival genes. So like Tony Robbins just said, if you can find a company with products that not only you can stand behind, but I'm sorry, now you know. We have told you and now you know. We found you, you're in the network, and how are you going to keep that to yourself? This is a golden ticket sitting in your hand because it's attached to a company with super high integrity. We are traded on the NASDAQ. We are super transparent. We've got Aaron Brockovich on our board of directors. Okay, I'm not talking business. I'm talking about products. We're increasing your health span. If you want your hand to be high up in the air when somebody says, are you looking forward to be 85 years old? Then you need to be popping these products. I'm going to pass it back to Julie because obviously I could go on and on.
I love it. Popping the products. Oh my gosh, that was super good. We literally could talk for hours and hours and days about the science, because 40 years, you try to condense that into 10 minutes, 5 minutes. It's hard to do, but Jennifer does such a beautiful job. So thank you for that. When it changed my mom's life and I got my mom back, you guys, I couldn't not tell anyone about it. When you start to feel better, we could go into all those stories. You can't help but want to share that. And so for me, where I was 8 years ago, I was at a place where I was just ready for change. And I'm a firm believer that the day that turns your life around is when the day you realize you don't want what you have anymore and that you're making a decision to change. That is the day. And I will be honest, this isn't for everyone. It's not perfect. Network marketing isn't perfect, but being a business owner and being an employee, it's just better. It's a better way. But most people are afraid of change. Most people are comfortable going to work day in and day out and working for someone else. And that's okay. We don't need everyone. But if you're like us, you're open-minded, you like to think outside the box, maybe you're a dreamer, maybe you challenge, the status quo, and you just ultimately want more out of your life, then you guys, I encourage you to take a strong, hard look at this. I encourage you to listen, talk to the person that invited you back to this call, or invited you to this call, and have an honest conversation with them. Because what I did is I looked at my life, and I want you to close your eyes later today, and I want you to think, okay, I'm looking at my life 3 to 5 years out, and what does it look like? Who am I with? Am I financially secure? Am I happy? Is my health good? And if you can't honestly have a path to that, then this may be the answer for you, because it was not only for me and Jennifer, but for thousands of other people. And I will tell you that, just being in as long as I have and going through what I have in life happens to us all. It does. And one of my favorite quotes is by Jim Rohn, and he talks about the blowing of the wind. And he says, the same wind blows on us all, whether that be the wind of change, the wind of COVID right now, the wind of happiness, the wind of, success or grief. The same wind blows on us all. It's not the blowing of the wind that determines your destination. It's the set of your sail. And what this gives you, it gives you an opportunity to set a better sail. And for me, when life happened in 2019, and I went through some personal stuff, and that's for another call, but I lost my mom, and it was super sudden and unexpected. But I will tell you that the only thing that I wanted more of was time. I just wanted more time with her. I think we can all agree that if we could want one thing back, it would be time. And that's what this gives us. It gives us time to be with the people we want to be with and do the things that we truly want to do in our life, whatever that is for you. It's such a beautiful thing to not have to worry how you're going to put food on the table, how you're going to pay the bills, because you've created an economic engine that will pay you for the rest of your life. And that's what we have our hands on. So I'm going to wrap it up there. We're right on the 30 minutes. Yes, we did it. Thank you so much for coming. Thank you for being a part of our golden ticket, ohana, as we say here in Hawaii. And please, the person is going to get back to you who invited you to this call. Get honest, get real, let them know where you are. If it's not for you, that's okay. If you want to know more, there's lots to learn. So aloha, everybody. Thank you for joining us. Thank you, Jennifer. We'll talk to y'all soon. Well, have a great Wednesday evening.